They're strong, they're competitive. They're the generation of singers who battled their way to fame and fortune through reality TV. Blender magazine recently wrote of Kelly Clarkson, the Texas native has one of the great voices in pop music, a powerful and versatile instrument that's steeped in the rhythm and blues and country music she grew up with in the South. Praise indeed for the winner of the first season of American Idol. While subsequent winners of the highly hyped talent quest have faded into obscurity, the self-taught songstress from Fort Worth has gone from strength to strength since her teary-eyed rendition of the winner's song, A Moment Like This, in front of a viewing audience of 28 million back in 2002. Her debut album, Thankful, went straight to #1 on the back of the show, and the 20-year-old was very quick to adjust to all the hoopla.
I grew up in a small town where everybody was kind of a busybody and wanted to know everybody else's business because there wasn't, enough going on, I guess, in their life. So I grew up around that. So it doesn't really faze me too much when people have, something to say. And I think that's just because I'm also a very spiritual person. There's more to this life than, being everybody's favorite star or, being #1 or, whatever. So I think that helps me too.
That attitude helped her gain more creative control and give more of a rock edge to her next album, the aptly titled Breakaway, which earned her 2 Grammy nominations for Best Pop Vocal Performance and Best Pop Album. Once again, she didn't let all the attention go to her head.
I don't know why everybody's responding so well to the record, but I'm very happy that they are. I don't know. I really put my heart and soul into this project. Wanted to make sure it was a good representation of me, as in everything I do. I like to do that.
Her determination to do things her way got her into a spot of bother with record label chief Clive Davis, who reportedly tried to persuade her to drop several songs from her 2007 album My December. She stuck to her guns, and My December debuted at #2 in the US, and Kelly kept her sense of humor.
No, you know what it is this situation is just blown up. This record is no different from my other records. Every record I've come out with, people have not liked. My whole goal is not to sell millions of records. My whole goal is just to have people like my music and come out to the shows, have a good time, and that's basically it. I'm pretty low-key.
While reality show winners before her may have been given more creative freedom, Clive Davis took the unprecedented step of teaming up with X Factor creator Simon Cowell to decide exactly which songs would make it onto Leona Lewis's debut album. The London-born R&B singer had just blown away the competition on the final episode of the 3rd series of the British version of the show, and no one was about to take any chances on the 21-year-old singing prodigy, whom Gary Barlow from Take That described as probably 50 times better than any contestant you've ever had on this show. And Leona was only too happy to take the softly approach.
I don't argue, I get across my point very subtly, and I think that's probably what they like about me, is that I'll just be like, I think this song should be on there.
The results spoke for themselves. Her winner's single, A Moment Like This, shot to #1 in the UK and became the biggest-selling British single of 2006. Throughout 2007, she worked on her debut album, Spirit, and it wasn't until October that she was finally ready to release a follow-up single to A Moment Like This.
So I worked on that song with Ryan Tedder from One Republic, and first of all, he's just an amazing talent, musician and singer and songwriter. So I heard the song and I was just instantly connected with it.
That song, co-written by Ryan Tedder and Jesse McCartney, turned out to be well worth waiting for. Bleeding Love shot to #1 in the UK and also topped the charts in Australia, France, Germany, Canada and the US. It took out the 2007 Record of the Year and landed Leona her 2 of 3 Grammy nominations.
It's just the greatest thing that a musician, the greatest honour, I think, is the Grammys, and I just couldn't believe that I'd that I'd been nominated, especially for 3 as well. Just to be considered in amongst all of those great people is amazing.
Where were you? Who'd you call? What was the day? Take yourself back.
I was at home in London, and like everyone knew before me for some reason. Yeah, so I kind of found out, and like my mum was just like over the moon. Like she was so happy.
Inaugural UK Pop Idol winner Will Young is no stranger to nice surprises. A week after releasing his debut single in March 2002, he turned up to London's Capital Radio for a scheduled interview with Dr. Fox.
Any other week, I think Shakira would have been #1 on the Pepsi chart, but this is no ordinary week, because Will Young Pop Idol released Evergreen and Anything Is Possible last Monday, and since then record shops mean...
As soon as the record was released, record shops were selling out daily, and Will Young had made it to #1.
But exactly how many records...
But that wasn't the whole story. Dr. Fox handed him an envelope that contained exactly how many records he'd sold, and instructed Will to rip it open and read it out. Will couldn't quite believe his eyes. He had sold 1,108,655 singles in 1 week, making it the fastest-selling debut single of all time. His sales even beat the 1-week total of Band Aid's Do They Know It's Christmas, which sold more than 750,000 copies. The only record that ever sold more in a week was Candle in the Wind by Elton John, which he re-recorded for Princess Diana's funeral. Will was so gobsmacked by the news, his hands were shaking. A week or so later, it was Will's turn to spring a surprise. Tipped off that a British tabloid was preparing to out him, he announced that he was gay and had always been very comfortable with his sexuality. To his record company's relief, that revelation did nothing to stem their Golden Goose's popularity. In 2006 and 2007, the singer-songwriter from Berkshire was voted the UK's favourite artist ever in a poll conducted by Commercial Radio. At the end of 2008, he was preparing to celebrate his 4th studio album, Let It Go, with a UK tour.
You know, I'm really just so happy to be around and be doing things that as the music I feel has got better, that, you know, my career has got better and become more successful, and that can't help but generate self-confidence.
In the US, one Idol contestant knows all about extreme ups and downs, both in her professional and personal life. After battling her way through the audition process in Series 3 of the reality show, Jennifer Hudson struggled to gain popularity in the early rounds. In fact, she received the 2nd lowest number of votes in 2 of the first 3 live shows. She clawed her way back up the rankings to become favourite to win, only to be eliminated halfway through the finals, ending up in 7th place. Judge Simon Cowell famously wrote her off as having blown her one big chance to make it. But later that year, she landed the role of Effie White in the big screen revival of Broadway musical Dreamgirls.
This is the right place for me.
And by the time the film premiered in London, her debut acting performance had already won her a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress. It was a dream come true.
It really does feel like one, you know? I mean, what a difference a day makes a year, you know? It's amazing.
So have you got a few words to say to Mr. Cowell, who says you only get one shot?
Don't forget to go see the movie. We're releasing it here in your home. I don't know.
So, I mean, let's talk Golden Globes. How did you cope after that? And sort of as the bubble, have you just been on cloud 9?
God, yes, and I still have it with me everywhere I go. I mean, I still can't believe I actually have a Golden Globe. I'm a Golden Globe winner now, but it's such an honor.
That wasn't the end of the dream. A month later, she'd become the red-hot favourite to take out an Oscar. Although everyone else knew it was a done deal, Jennifer was dumbfounded by the win.
How did it feel? What was going through your head when you heard your name?
I couldn't believe it. I'm still in shock. Like, did I really just win? Like I said, you never know, and you can never be too sure. And it was a surprise, and it still is.
Tragically, she'd barely had time to savor the joy of being awarded Hollywood's highest honor before having to come to terms with devastating news that her mother, brother, and nephew had all been murdered. The estranged husband of Jennifer's sister Julia was arrested by police, and a week later, hundreds of mourners turned out for the memorial service. The tragedy was made even more poignant by the reminder of an interview Jennifer gave just a few months earlier.
And my family, they're very realistic and very normal. They're not into the whole limelight kind of thing. So when I go home to Chicago, that's another place. It's just home. I stand in line with everybody else. Or when I go home to my mama's, I'm just Jennifer. Okay, you get up and you take care of your own stuff, you know, and I love that.
Evangelical Christian and plus-size model Jordan Sparks may have only been 17 years old when she first auditioned for American Idol in 2006, but she was already a veteran of the talent quest circuit. By the time she earned a golden ticket to the Hollywood round of season 6, she'd cut her teeth in numerous nail-biting competitions. While on the show, the classically trained singer earned a loyal fan base nicknamed the Spark Plugs. And unlike Jennifer Hudson, she had a dream ride, never finishing in the bottom 3. After beating Blake Lewis into second place, she became a great ambassador for the show.
As far as the show, it's awesome because they change it up. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. They got a new stage this year. They get to play instruments. The mentors coming in are insane. And I'm just like, I can't believe I was a part of that. Like, it trips me out still to think about it. But I don't know. I love this show. I think it's just one of those things that people just love it and they're drawn to it. And plus, they get to be a part of choosing who actually wins. So that's a big plus.
At 18, she also took like a duck to water to the endless parade of public appearances and television interviews.
There definitely is a pressure. There's a pressure to be a good role model, and I'm so excited to be in this position because I think that's what people need. I mean, because before this, I was reading the magazines and the tabloids and being like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? And so I'm very excited to be in this position, and there is that pressure because it's like, all right, okay, I can do this. And I'm trying, so there kind of is that pressure, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I like it, I'm glad, and life is good.
Life got even better when she was invited to attend the prestigious Kennedy Center Honors to witness some of her idols receiving Career Achievement Awards.
Diana Ross and Steve Martin and the multiple others that are here are just, they're icons in American culture, and just the fact that I get to be here and I get to be around them. I got to meet all of them last night, and I was just like, oh my God.
To top it all off, she went on to win a Teen Choice Award for No Air, her duet with Chris Brown. She also turned up to the American Music Awards to accept the award for Favorite Artist in the Adult Contemporary category. Letting her famously curly hair down on the red carpet, Jordan talked about the music she grew up dancing to.
Basically anything with a good beat. Beyonce stuff is great. Kanye, rap music, anything is really good as long as it has a good beat to it. Yes.
As winners of shows like Idol and X Factor lap up all the accolades bestowed upon them, perhaps they should take a moment out to thank the Spice Girls, without whom the whole pop reality TV talent quest may never have been born. Back in the mid-90s, managers Lee Buick and Johnny Leather came up with a bright idea to mold their own female singing group, in answer to the barrage of boy bands that were dominating the charts. They put an ad in the paper for female singer-dancers, and after an exhaustive audition process, put the girls through their paces in dance studios and got them living together and working on a bunch of demos. A few lineup changes later, and Jerry Halliwell, Victoria Beckham, Melanie Chisholm, Melanie Brown, and Emma Bunton were confirmed as the Spice Girls. After dumping their initial managers, the Spiceys signed up with Simon Fuller's company 19 Management. And from there, they went on to become Britain's biggest-selling act since the Beatles. It was all in the name of girl power.
We're 5 friends here. We support each other. We're about female solidarity, so it's brilliant. We're all so glad to be in a group, so we've got girl power.
Whether or not the Spice Girls can be credited with being the pop idol creators' muse, the dot-to-dot process of developing this manufactured girl group surely provided Simon Fuller with plenty of inspiration as he honed the format of the inaugural Idol series, which screened on ITV in 2001. By that time, his wildly successful protégés had split up, amid rumours of a falling out between Mel B and Jerry Halliwell. 6 years later, they were happy to prove that spice was thicker than water by reuniting for a sellout world tour.
Before it was divorce, now it's marriage.
It is like a marriage, let's face it. I think we represent very normal women. You know, we're not perfect. We do the best we can. And I think we've turned out pretty much okay. We haven't had the most perfect rides, ups and downs like most people. We've survived. We're still sane. You know, none of us have...
Sane?
Ish. We weren't sane in the first place.
We're as sane as we were when we started.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think any of us have fallen off the... You know.
No, we really appreciate it this time round. We're having a great time with family and we get to perform on stage again. It's amazing.
Although it can't be denied that the whole pop idol phenomenon has made mega successes of more women than men, there have been a few notable male triumphs. Will Young and Gareth Gates in the UK have continued to ride high since placing first and second in the 2002 series. More recently in the US, two talented singers named David took it down to the wire in the 7th series of American Idol.
I wasn't too shocked. I mean, anything can happen on this show, but the fact that the two Davids are you know, in the top 2 is not shocking at all.
Was the series winner going to be scrappy 20-something rocker David Cook or clean-cut teen David Archuleta?
You can't really compare the two. They're just both very good at what they do. Like he says, it just depends on what America decides. So they both have very solid fan base.
But if you had to call it...
I think David Archuleta, he's a lot more wholesome. He's a lot more appealing to younger kids and to their moms, very non-threatening, and you know, could definitely fit in well with like the High School Musical crowd. Or
I think David A is going to win it. I mean, they both got great voices, and they're both very different, but I think David A's got the momentum going right now.
I'm a fan of that David Cook guy. You know, I think they're both really talented, but as far as just style goes, I would probably lean towards more buying a ticket to go see him play than the kid. But all the best of luck to both of them.
In the end, it was 25-year-old David Cook, who had only gone along to audition for the show in support of his younger brother, who got the thumbs up from viewers. The week after his 2008 victory, he shattered Billboard chart records by having 11 songs debut on the 100 in 1 week. Within 3 months, the former bartender from Oklahoma had been invited to present at the annual Teen Choice Awards.
Just kind of taking it all in. I mean, this is my first award show, so it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out, and hopefully I can go home with a surfboard. That'd be nice.
In February 2009, he was overwhelmed by the fans' response to him and his Idol co-stars as they unveiled the Disney Idol experience in Orlando. While some Pop Idol winners are keen to shake off their association with the reality TV show that launched their career, one former winner is keen to stay in touch with the show that made her a star.
I watch as much as I can. We got TiVo on my bus. I'm on tour right now, so it's kind of like prime showtime when, you know, they start and I have to go do my thing.
Since taking out Series 4 in 2004, Carrie Underwood's Thing has been topping the country music charts, winning 3 Grammy Awards and being crowned Best Female Vocalist at the Country Music Awards 2 years in a row. She was probably glad of the chance to stand still for a moment, to give the sculptors at New York's Madame Tussauds an opportunity to create her very own likeness in wax. The sculpture, which was unveiled in October 2008, was dressed in the Trish Townsend and Des Zamek frock that the real Carrie Underwood had worn to the AMAs in 2006, and the singer was rather overwhelmed with the result.
Oh yeah, I think she, do I call her she? It's like she's not a real person, but I don't know. She looks really great, I think.
Nervous ahead of hosting the upcoming Country Music Awards, she wished she could send her wax likeness along instead.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm, you know, 4 years ago I was sitting at home watching it, you know, and who'd have thought I'd be hosting it, you know, so it's one of those things. Brad Paisley so amazing, good friend of mine, and I think we're gonna do a good job. I hope we do. I hope we don't screw anything up, but we'll do good.
As usual, she did better than good, carrying off the Best Female Vocalist award for the 3rd straight year. As if all that weren't enough for 1 year, 2008 also marked Carrie's surprise induction into the hallowed halls of country music's mecca, the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. During a sold-out performance at the venue, she was unexpectedly joined on stage by country legend Randy Travis, who said he'd been sent by Grand Ole Opry management to see if she'd like to become a member.
It was fun, sneaking up behind her somewhat, and then watch her and the audience in front see their response first, and then hers. It was great.
For one of reality TV industry's latest exports, the incredible success enjoyed by the likes of Kelly Clarkson, Leona Lewis, Will Young and Carrie Underwood is no doubt a huge source of inspiration. Alexandra Burke was declared the winner of the 5th series of the UK's X Factor on the 13th of December 2008.
It's just so emotional. Like, nobody really understands unless you're part of this show, unless you're part of it. And you know, for anyone that really is chasing a dream, you'll understand. But being on this show takes so much out of you that you've got to be mentally prepared. Everything's just got to be ready. And it gets emotional because you want this so much. When you want something so badly, you do anything to chase it.
The stakes had become even higher for Alexandra when she learned she would be singing with Beyoncé on the final show.
The one thing that I was asking for from week 1, I was like, if I make finals, please, can I do it with Beyoncé? And then I got given the song Listen from Judges' Houses, you know, so if it wasn't getting through every week more than enough for me to handle, then it's, oh, by the way, tomorrow you're singing with Beyoncé. No, sorry, I am crazy, just crazy, but out of this world.
Although she admitted she was almost too nervous to go through with the duet, her idol ended up giving her some great advice on how to make it through the biggest challenge of her life.
She was just telling me to always save your voice. Yep, she goes to me, if you have to do rehearsals, don't blast out, you know, because we was both blasting out, and then she was like, Alex, sing the octave lower, save your voice, because I'm knackered, so you must be knackered, so let's just save our voices. And then when I was in her dressing room, she was like, I think you're gonna win. This is before we even sung anything. And I was like, oh my goodness, wow. Just winning already because I sang with you, that's a winner in itself, so, whew, you know?
She ended up blitzing her nearest rivals by more than 1 million votes. And her debut single, a cover of Leonard Cohen's Alleluia, subsequently became the fastest-selling digital download, beating the record set by former X Factor champ and fellow Islington resident Leona Lewis.
Every record, this record is no different from my other records. Every record I've come out with, people have not liked. My whole goal is not to sell millions of records. My whole goal is just to have people like my music and come out to the shows, have a good time, and that's basically it. I'm pretty low-key.
While reality show winners before her may have been given more creative freedom, Clive Davis took the unprecedented step of teaming up with X Factor creator Simon Cowell to decide exactly which songs would make it onto Leona Lewis's debut album. The London-born R&B singer had just blown away the competition on the final episode of the 3rd series. The attention go to her head.
I don't know why everybody's responding so well to the record, but I'm very happy that they are. I don't know. I really put my heart and soul into this project. Wanted to make sure it was a good representation of me, as in everything I do. I like to do that.
Her determination to do things her way got her into a spot of bother with record label chief Clive Davis, who reportedly tried to persuade her to drop several songs from her 2007 album My December. she stuck to her guns, and My December debuted at number 2 in the US, and Kelly kept her sense of humour.
No, you know what it is this situation is just blown up.
Music, a powerful and versatile instrument that's steeped in the rhythm and blues and country music she grew up with in the South. Praise indeed for the winner of the first season of American Idol. While subsequent winners of the highly hyped talent quest have faded into obscurity, the self-taught songstress from Fort Worth has gone from strength to strength since her teary-eyed rendition of the winner's song, A Moment Like This, in front of a viewing audience of 28 million back in 2002. Her debut album, Thankful, went straight to number 1 on the back of the show, and the 20-year-old was very quick to adjust to all the hoopla. They're strong, they're competitive. They're the generation of singers who battled their way to fame and fortune through reality TV. Blender magazine recently wrote of Kelly Clarkson, the Texas native as one of the great voices in pop.
I grew up in a small town where everybody was kind of a busybody and wanted to know everybody else's business because there wasn't, enough going on, I guess, in their life. So I grew up around that. So it doesn't really faze me too much when people have, something to say. And I think that's just because I'm also a very spiritual person. There's more to this life than, being everybody's favorite star or, being number 1 or, whatever. So I think that helps me too.
That attitude helped her gain more creative control and give more of a rock edge to her next album, the aptly titled Breakaway, which earned her 2 Grammy nominations for Best Pop Vocal Performance and Best Pop Album. Once again, she didn't let all the